In a world scorched to salt and dust, where life itself was a forgotten memory, a lone titan roamed. A colossal rhino, its hide like cracked earth, its horn a spear against the empty sky. It searched not for a fight, not for a foe, but for a single, stubborn sign of life. For an age, the wasteland offered only silence and the whisper of sterile whines. The rhino's heavy steps were the only heartbeat in this dead land, a lonely rhythm of hope against despair. One day, as the twin suns burned high, the ground trembled. Not from the rhino's tread, but from something deep within. From a fissure in the salt flats, a blinding light pulsed, and a creature of impossible beauty emerged, the Crystal Beetle. Its carapace was a mosaic of living gems, each facet harder than diamond, refracting the harsh sun into 1,000 dazzling rainbows. It wasn't born of this world, it was a world unto itself, a being of pure, unyielding crystal. The rhino froze. Here was life, but not as it remembered. This was something alien, something sharp and brilliant. The Crystal Beetle unfurled its wings, shimmering like stained glass, and a low hum vibrated through the air, a frequency that made the very dust dance. It saw the rhino not as a fellow survivor, but as an intruder, a relic of a fleshy, fragile past. The air grew tense, the silence replaced by a humming thrum of imminent conflict. With a roar that ripped through the stillness, the rhino charged. It was a force of nature unleashed, an avalanche of muscle and horn aimed at the heart of this crystalline anomaly. The ground cracked under its thundering hooves. The Crystal Beetle stood its ground, its multifaceted eyes tracking the behemoth's approach. Just before impact, it flared its wings wide, unleashing a blinding flash of concentrated light, a concussive blast of pure energy. The rhino recoiled, its vision seared white, the sound of 1,000 shattering mirrors echoing in its ears. It shook its massive head, its primal fury stoked. The beetle hadn't moved an inch. This was not a creature of flesh and blood. It was an avatar of the Earth's hardened heart. The first exchange was over. The wasteland, now scarred with a new, glassy crater, held its breath. The battle began in earnest. The rhino charged again and again, its horn a battering ram against the beetle's crystalline shell. With every impact, a shockwave tore through the desert. Shards of crystal, sharp as obsidian, flew through the air, embedding themselves in the salt flats. The beetle countered with beams of scorching light, lances of energy that boiled the very ground they touched, turning sand and salt into molten glass. What was once a barren desert was transforming into a surreal battlefield of glass. Jagged spires of newly formed obsidian jutted from the ground. The air shimmered with heat and pulverized crystal. The rhino, now bleeding from 100 shallow cuts, was relentless. It was driven by an instinct older than rock, the instinct for life to reclaim, to break down what was static and sterile. The Crystal Beetle, a fortress of light and diamond, fought with the cold, unyielding logic of a geological process. Hours turned into a day, and a day into a timeless clash. The rhino was tiring, its powerful body battered, its breath coming in ragged heaves. The Crystal Beetle, though its outer layers were chipped and fractured, remained a formidable presence, its inner light glowing with unwavering intensity. It seemed invincible, a perfect being of inorganic matter, but the rhino saw something. A subtle pulse, a rhythmic glow deep within the beetle's translucent core, a heart. It gathered all its remaining strength, all its desperate hope, into one final, cataclysmic effort. This was not just a charge, it was a judgment. It ignored the blinding flashes, pushed through the searing beams of light, its eyes fixed on that single, glowing point. The earth itself seemed to cry out as the rhino reared up, its immense weight poised for one decisive strike. With an earth-shaking stomp, a sound that cracked the sky, the rhino brought its full might down upon the Crystal Beetle. It wasn't its horn this time, but its foot, a stomp that channeled the weight of a world that longed to be alive again. The impact was absolute. A deafening crack echoed across the glass plains. For a moment, a brilliant light erupted from the beetle, a nova of pure energy that threw the rhino back. And then silence, the Crystal Beetle's light faded. Its magnificent shell, harder than diamond, shattered into a million iridescent fragments. The pieces rained down not as weapons, but as seeds of light, covering the desolate landscape like a blanket of fallen stars. The rhino, exhausted, collapsed to the ground, its great body finally spent. It had won, but it seemed the wasteland had claimed them both. But as the dust settled and the twin suns began to dip below the horizon, something miraculous happened. Where the beetle's core had shattered, a single, brilliant green shoot pushed its way through the salt and glass. Then another and another. From each shard of the fallen beetle, a blade of grass emerged, impossibly green, impossibly alive. The crystalline energy, once used for defense, was now a catalyst for life. The rhino lifted its heavy head. The air, once sterile, now carried the sweet scent of new growth. A vibrant green carpet began to spread from the epicenter of the battle, flowing over the glass fields, consuming the salt, drinking in the light of the setting suns. The rhino's sacrifice and the beetle's had not been in vain. One fought to break the world's stillness, the other held the potential for its rebirth. Together in their epic destruction, they had healed the land. The great beast watched as life returned, its own heartbeat finally in sync with the gentle pulse of a world born anew. Thank you so much for joining us on this epic journey. If you were moved by the story of the rhino and the crystal beetle, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from worlds beyond our own. We'd love to have you in our community. See you in the next one.